Welcome back, Gundam Guys and Gundam Gals. PatrickGrade here from GGInfiniteNews.com. Finally, bringing you the review for the metal build 00 Gundam 7 Sword S. Taking a look at the packaging real quick. On the front, we have a stoically posed 00 Gundam loaded up with his 7 swords, as well as donning the unique designer color paint scheme. Over here on the bottom we have the fictional information for the suit in the 00 Gundam universe. This figure came out in April of this year, and retails, if you can find it for retail price, for around 15,000 yen, or about $200 or so US. Nothing too much going on the sides, but on the back we see some nicely posed action shots, as well as some information on specific parts or features of the figure, including the detail and markings, the hybrid material, and the metal material. That's all in Japanese, so I'm not quite sure what they're talking about, but we'll go over all that during the review. So again, just some nice poses showing off all of the cool features and details on the figure, as well as showing off everything that comes inside the box. And inside the box you get 2 layers of packaging. A thick, heavy-duty styrofoam bottom that contains most of the items. The figure, the guitars, the Buster Sword and Jian Sword 2s. And a clamshell plastic topper that has the remaining items of the figure. And we'll go over all these in detail in a second. So inside that box you get a whole bunch of stuff, and let's take a quick look at everything. Starting over here, you get a really nice stand with a heavy support arm. You get some support stands for the Buster Sword 2 of 2 different lengths, a short and a tall. You also get 2 different ways to attach the figure to the base. One of the waist grip arms, as well as one of the plugs that go into the crotch of the figure. You get a whole plethora of hands, different formations to hold the different weapons. Of course, 2 standard beam saber handles and beam saber blades. The Jian Sword 2 long. The Jian Sword 2 short. As well as its effect part there to hold the blade out from the base. The giant Buster Sword 2. 2 Jian guitars. A couple of attachment pieces. And some pieces that you can swap out to make the Jian Sword 2 long and short, the standard Jian Sword 2, as well as change out the knees on the figure to make it look more anime accurate. And then of course you also get the 1/100 scale metal build 00 Gundam figure itself. Alright, so you may be wondering what the metal build line exactly is. Now this is not a model kit, this is a fully assembled, painted, and detailed figure in the 1/100 scale. The figure itself is made from die-cast metal, as well as a quote-unquote hybrid plastic. Now the metal you can find in a lot of the joints and lower areas, like in the torso here, the knees, and the ankle and the feet. And there's also some in joints up here on the upper chest and upper body. The metal goes a long way to help stabilize the figure itself, especially when it's holding on or loaded out with all the weapons. The lower body weighs quite a bit, so it's grounded really well. There's no metal, however, in the accessories or the weapons. It's all made of the hybrid plastic, for obvious weight issue reasons. So let's start taking a look at the figure itself in detail, starting first with the color scheme and paint detail. So even though it has the typical lead Gundam color scheme of blue, white, red, and yellow, some of the colors are a little unique, especially the blue. It's kind of a purpley blue. I'm not sure the proper name of it, but it's a lighter blue than the typical Gundam blue. It looks very nice. And the white is typical white. The red comes up as a little bit different on the metal parts. such as the feet here and the torso and waist unit. Same with the yellow. It has a more of a gold sheen to it than a dark yellow, almost like a mustard yellow. But the kind of unique color is for the inner frame and detail. It's a kind of a copper color. It looks copper on the metal parts, but on the plastic it comes across as more of a brown color. I like it on the metal, but the plastic looks a little too brown for me. But it kind of works with the overall color scheme. And you can see that some of the panel lines are already detailed with the brown or the copper color. And of course, our unique feature of this paint scheme are the designer color paint details. They're not decals because you can't pull them off, but they're painted onto the pieces. So there's lines and information and that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. It adds to the overall quality of the paint scheme. A lot of care was taken to get these things to look nice on all the pieces. You know, the registration numbers and all that kind of stuff all over. It looks really cool. So the paint scheme is really nice, except for the copper/brown. But I think overall it works really well. And you can see on the backpack we have some more nice decals, as well as on the rear waist armor. And also we have the clear green areas on the knees, elbows, and the wrist, as well as the ears, and the eyes are that silver or the sparkly green, but it's not clear, so it's okay. And then we also have the red clear jewel here, and you can get hints of the green plastic in the GN drives. But the GN drives don't have any LEDs, they don't light up at all, so there's no light ups on this kit at all, which is kind of odd given that the PatrickGrade's focused on that a lot as far as a gimmick for the kit, as well as the Perfect Grade. But it's not a big loss in my opinion, because I never actually bought the LEDs for the PatrickGrade, so I'm not really missing anything myself. So as I said in the intro, this is a very well put together figure. You can't, I'm hard pressed to find any like connecting screws or anything. It's all hidden or snapped together. I don't know how it works, but it's solid. All the joints are very flexible, but they still hold their position really well. The only thing they have, the waist is a little loose, but that's just from overuse. But overall, all the rotation and swivel and everything, it's very solid, very smooth. There's no ratcheting joints, but they still stay in place very well. So some very heavy friction joints. Very nice. The backpack is affixed permanently to the back. It does not come off. As well as the GN drive flaps. They don't seem to come off either. GN drives do come out, and we'll see why when we get to the O-Riser figure. There are some things missing, as you know, compared to a typical PatrickGrade. There's no opening cockpit, and there's no side-to-side waist rotation there, like we see in the PatrickGrade 00 Gundams. And there's no sliding panels or anything either. The joints work really well, but we don't have any like separating thigh pads or any of that kind of stuff that's typical on a lot of current PatrickGrades. And like I said in the earlier in the video, some of the pieces can come off. The knees will simply slide off, and you can replace that with the typical anime style knees. So you have the 00 Gundam itself, not the 00 Gundam 7 Sword S version, which is nice if you want to have some variation. So the articulation's really, really good. Starting with the lower legs here, we see the typical 00 Gundam ankle articulation, as well as a mid-foot break there. The front ankle armor pops out, but nothing in the back, but that's okay because it really doesn't get in the way anyway. The knee bends a complete 180, and you can even bring it back way far. Kick himself in the back of the head. And the front skirt here is permanently affixed as well. It kind of rotates a little bit, but I can't pull it off, which is good because You can really get some extreme movement without having stuff pop off. And the same goes for the side skirts too. They seem to be on there. You can kind of see that there's a pressure pin through there holding it in place. Again, waist rotation's fine, but there's no side-to-side swivel there, and there's no advanced shoulder joints going on either. It's just the standard single shoulder joint. Rotation below the shoulder, elbow bends about that far, but that's only due to the lower arm. That's only due to the forearm armor there. But you can see there's a kind of a swivel deep inside to get more bend out of it. The arms would go 360 if the backpack wasn't in the way, and probably out farther than that as well. And it also has the wrist swivel that we see in the 00 Master Grades. The GN drive binders can swivel back and forth that much, and of course they can flip out. And there's no locking mechanism, but they're on a very strong friction joint, so that holds in place just fine. And finally, the head can go 360 if you really want it to, but there are some pieces you have to be careful of, such as the antennae here and on the chest. And there's not a lot of neck movement, just a little giggity action there, but I think that's enough. So overall, the articulation is very good for this kit. It's master grade quality, while not having any of the master grade problems of stuff popping off and becoming dislocated due to stuff moving around. So I start taking a look at the weapons, starting with the most basic of the 00 Gundam weapons, the beam saber handle and blade. Nothing fancy going on here except for the unique paint application at the bottom. It's all pretty typical, simple beam saber kind of stuff. The connection is a little unique because it's kind of a formed hole, not just your typical cylinder. So there's a way it goes in, and there's a way, and the other way it does not. But other than that, it's all pretty basic. Looks nice, and it's very light, so I'm sure it can pose just fine. So here are the GN guitars. They're very simple yet really neat looking weapons, mainly because of the clear green for the blades and the paint scheme and the decal set. You can see it says GN guitar there in a very small lettering, which is really cool. So here you can notice that the copper is really more of a brown on the plastic, or at least it comes across that way. And this is kind of where I wish they would go away from this brown color, but it's kind of a minor point. So aside from the moving handles, there's not really much going on for these guys except for the clear plastic. And here we have the attachment areas for the knee armor. Very light and very simple, but they look really nice. And here's the GN Sword 2 long version. So again, the decal set here really makes this guy stand out with the caution and all the information they present with through the lettering. And of course, the blade here can rotate to help form the rifle. And we have a collapsible handhold here, and you can see brown down in here for the barrels to help highlight that area. The nice clear green up here for the sights. Both the wrist guard and the trigger handle swivel down here to help form the GN blaster, or GN Sword 2 blaster. And again, more brown here on the plastic. Wish it would have gone with a different color, but oh well. And you can see the attachment points here for the side armor are permanently affixed. You can't take those off, which is kind of cool and kind of bad, I guess. It's the ones on the Master Grade are always falling off, on mine at least. So it's nice to have these securely attached. But it does take away from the overall design if you kind of look at it and see that there's just a peg sticking out there. But all in all, very nice. You can really feel the hybrid plastic here in the blade area. And here's a GN Sword 2 short. Nothing too fancy going on here except for the color scheme and the fact that you can break the blade in half to form a projectile anchor kind of thing, I guess. Whatever's supposed to be in the manga. And using the effect part, you get an attached bit here that you can pose uniquely if you choose to. The GN Sword 2 short also forms the rifle if you want it to, or more of a gun, I guess. Same way, just swivel the blade around, drop down the handle and the hand guard, and there you go. So if you wanted to, you can use the included GN Sword 2 blades, just the typical blades, and take off the long and short. If you're more of a fan of the anime accurate style of 00 Gundam. And there you go, you have the fully functioning GN Sword 2 standard. But you don't get the barrel detail down. You don't get the barrel separation down on the barrel areas here. There's no brown or anything, so this is just flat white. So they didn't apply the stickers or the detail paint and stuff on the extra included accessories here. So of course the last major weapon of the 7 Sword S is the Buster Sword 2. And this guy looks really nice, especially with the extra paint applications. You can see there's the Celestial Being insignia there, as well as the GN Buster Sword 2 logo, as well as the tribal designs of whatever these things are supposed to be, the lines coming off of it. And there's a big patch of brown in the back that I really wish wasn't there. So as you can tell, I'm not a fan of the brown, but I can live with it, I guess, especially since I didn't pay for this. It's Gundam Guy's own collection. So of course this is the shield mode for storage on the arm. Actually, that's a storage mode. And this can form the Buster Sword 2 by pulling out some of the areas here. Unlike on the PatrickGrade where you pull one and these two things pop off, you have to do each individual thing separately. And you can see there's a lot of the green paint down here for the areas that were lit by the LED on the PatrickGrade. Again, there's no LEDs in this kit at all. So it's all achieved by some nice sparkly green paint. So it's a very massive sword. Some definite weight to it. It's the heaviest of all weapons, but look how big it is. So it's, of course, there's going to be weight to it. The handle here on the back can swivel out for the shield mode. The form attachment piece here, and this is the shoulder attachment area. There's no LED bays or anything, so this is all one solid piece. So it looks very nice. The transformation is pretty cool. I'm just curious to have how well the figure can hold on to it, even with the support stands and stuff. So I'm going to be using the bloggy zoom feature here for the hands, so I don't know how well it'll come out. It'll be a short piece, so just bear with me. This figure comes with 5 complete sets of hands, the 4 you see here, and the clenched fist that comes installed on the figure when you open it out of the box. And they simply peg into place here on a friction joint kind of deal. They hold in place really well, and you can see the wrist is more of a swivel joint inside. The hands are kind of weird though. There's 3 different forms to hold weapons. One specific for each type of weapon, and of course the open I have hands hand thing here. But the fingers are made of a malleable plastic. You can see they bend around quite easily, which is fine for this, but I'm kind of concerned with how well these can hold on to the heavier weapons. This is the one that holds on to the Buster Sword 2. You can see it has a wide grip there, but I just wonder how well it can hold on to the Buster Sword 2 with all of its heavy, weight at the tip and stuff. But they look nice. The panel lines applied a little too heavily there, I think, in some of them. But overall, they're pretty neat. And this is all the soft plastic. There's no hybrid plastic here. This is all just that soft malleable plastic, even the wrist guards. So Bandai was well aware of the weight of the Buster Sword too, so they gave us a support stand here of various lengths, one real short and one about a little over mid-figure high. And the blade of the Buster Sword 2 just simply rests in place on the V here. There's no actual locking mechanism or anything. So I guess that's good and bad. There's a pretty deep channel for it to fit into, so I don't think it's going to rock over or anything. And the base here just simply plugs it in, and the sword rests there. So it's real sturdy, works pretty well. I wish the PatrickGrade would have come with this, especially for the 7 sword G, because that sword is way too heavy for the PatrickGrade kit to hold on to. So nice inclusion here. So I was really impressed with the base for this figure. As you can see here, the base itself has some nice information. The 00 Gundam, you know, the font that we see on all the 00 Gundam stuff, as well as some icons here displaying and numbering the individual weapons. This is a really cool base. It's not just the huge chunk of plastic with some mechanical detail. Some real care went to designing this. And the arm is really cool too. It's very heavy duty. You can see it's a huge chunk of plastic in the main arm with the sliding support arm there. This is free moving. There's no locking joint here. But the inner arm is locked in place. Flip that up and then you can pull out the arm. And you can see the notches here that hold it in place. It's very similar to the action base for PatrickGrades. And the connection arm for the attachment pieces swivels, and you can lock that in place too. So it really supports the figure well and still gives you a nice range of ability to pose it in different areas and different heights. So the base is a real winner in my mind. A very strong connection onto the base. And I wish they would sell these separately, because this is a really nice way to display any of your heavier master grade kits. So again, you have 2 ways to attach the figure to the stand. This is the waist gripping method that we see used on a lot of figures like Figma and stuff. So very stiff joints here that clasp the waist. That fits onto the support arm here just fine. And then we have the standard tried and true peg and hole method. This slots into place on the torso armor of the figure itself and gives it a real strong connection as well. So that'll be it for the first video here. Stay tuned for next video when I'll take a look at the O-Riser add-on pack here. And then I'll show it all combined, as well as some comparisons with the recently released PatrickGrade versions of these 2 figures in the third video, and then finally some overall opinions of the figure itself. So thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll bring you some more.